Hello and welcome to Back to the Feature, the show we talk about movies past, present, and future. Today we're keeping it in the present again with the newest film by Daniel Espinosa, Life.
We won't survive re-entry.
But it could.
Life stars Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think that definitely got us interested right away to go see this movie. I'll go see anything but Jake Gyllenhaal. And then I also saw that Rebecca Ferguson was in this, and I think that she's very intriguing after seeing her in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So the cast definitely was what got me into the theater. The horror sci-fi angle as well is also a very fun little playground to mess around in. So, John, what were your initial thoughts here from Life?
I think, well, going into the movie, you get a great sense right off the bat that this movie is in pretty good hands from the director, and they were really showing off with some of their effects. This is probably the best example I've seen of zero gravity in space.
I think that the movie itself has a lot going against it in the way that it is not extremely original. You know, there's alien that's killing people on a spaceship. I'm sure we've heard of this plot before, but I think that what it does is exactly what you're saying, is that I think that the amount of zero G in this movie and like those effects
shots
and the tracking shots, I mean, knowing that they did not do any of this in zero G, that is them acting on wires to look like they're in zero G, which is not the same. You could not just suspend them on wires and run them around and go, that looks just like they're in zero G. I thought they did a really great job throughout the film because they have to do it a lot. Yeah. And knowing that that was the mechanics of how this was filmed, I think that's what kind of sets it apart. The effects overall, the CGI looked great, but I thought that that aspect of it was an interesting challenge, and the fact that they pulled it off without it really being like noticeable or even something that you think about during it.
I was very impressed.
Yeah, I think it's
very
really
impressed. And he does some things with the camera too, feeling like the camera is zero gravity. Just you feel like you're in space watching it. Yeah, I think that would have been a great IMAX experience.
I think it really is what sets this movie apart from other movies that are like it.
Yeah. Looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. And then its cast is great.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, obviously, we already kind of were talking about him, and I think everybody knows at this point that he is one of the most talented actors that's out there today. Full stop. And then you have Ryan Reynolds as well, who just exudes charisma and charm in every movie that he's in.
Yeah, he's great in them.
And I think that he does a really good job because I think that there's some really interesting things that he has to do. I mean, not just being funny and just being Ryan Reynolds. I think there's also some darker places he has to go to that I think that they do challenge him in some interesting ways in this film. So it doesn't feel like you're just watching, oh, it's Deadpool, you know, or oh, Van Wilder on a spaceship. So I think that was really good as far as setting himself apart. That being said, though, I think that the acting was great. The characters, though, I think could have been fleshed out a little bit better. Yeah,
because I mean, I think they're drawing inspiration from a lot of different horror films, and they just kind of set you into the environment right off the bat, and they don't really give you too much. They give you characterization in the film.
Yeah.
Little bits, pieces, that is good, but they're just not enough.
Yeah, I think that it would make some of the things and some of the decisions that the characters make just make a little bit more sense, especially toward the end of the movie, the climax of the movie. I think that it's just a little more important if we had a few more nuggets, especially on like Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Some of the choices he makes, I really wanted to hear a little bit more
backstory
about why he feels the way he does. So I thought that was maybe just a little bit of a missed opportunity with this movie that I think could have made it go from being a good movie to an actual truly great movie. So John, what were some of the other things you saw then with Life?
Well, like I said too, walking out of the theater, I really enjoyed the music in the movie and the creature design. I don't know. I don't think we want to give out too much information on it, but the creature design I thought was actually pretty excellent. It's a very creative alien, and the things that it does is genuinely pretty disgusting and creepy, and I was on the edge of my seat for most of this movie, really tense, so I think that's always a really good sign walking out of a thriller, because I'm not usually tense, like I'm pretty desensitized, so... Yeah,
I think that they set up there's a lot of tension in this movie, and he sets up these scenes really, really well.
Yeah.
That when the bad things start happening in this movie... It is really tense. I mean, you really do feel, you know, what's going on. And like I said, there's definitely some jumps in there and some really scary stuff to really think about. And like you said, too, about the creature design, I really like the creature design overall. You know, it's something that it starts from being just a tiny little microbe and it kind of grows throughout the movie. And I thought that was really an interesting choice because they were able to keep playing and expanding upon what we kept seeing. And I think that it was really interesting because, you know, it made it ever changing. And you you didn't really know what to expect as it kept going, as it kept going, as it kept going. And I think that it really kept the monster feeling really fresh. So yeah, I really don't think there's too much more to say about Life. You guys definitely check it out. John, what is your final grade then for Life?
I give Life a B. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun in the theater with it. I was, like I said, on the edge of my seat through most of this. I thought the cast was all really good. All the actors did a great job. The exploration in space, all the effects were just awesome. I was very impressed with this film overall. Though it doesn't really quite reach for, you know, masterpiece level sci-fi films, and some of the characterization falls apart. But you know, this is definitely an enjoyable feature. Go and watch this movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Life. I'm also kind of going to give it a straight B. I think it really only falters in the fact that it's I mean, in its way, kind of unoriginal because of the fact that, like I said, it's an alien on a spaceship. We've seen that kind of thing before. So there's things about it that are rote, but at the same time, I think that it has enough to set itself apart, and the technical and the visuals in this movie are stunning enough that it really is worth your time. Yeah. You know, it's mainly just kind of lacking in the characters, but it also still has great acting. So there's definitely a lot of positive things, and a lot more positive than negative. I found this to be a really enjoyable experience, and overall an effective horror sci-fi thriller. So that's been our short, spoiler-free review today of Life. If you want us to do a spoiler review of this movie after you've seen it, just let us know in the comments. You can like and subscribe here at Back to the Feature. You can also find us on Twitter at Back2Feature and on Facebook at /Back2Feature. I've been Giovanni Carlo.
And I'm John Vandeloo.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Good night, stars. We've lost all communication.
Good night, air.
We'll hit the atmosphere in 39 minutes.
We won't survive re-entry.
But it could.
Good night. Noises everywhere.